Hi, I'm here with Nick Guerriero, Iona Men's Basketball Insider. Hi, Nick. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Amanda.
Well, for starters, we definitely want to talk about how the season's going to be, specifically starters at the Paradise Jam. We had a big victory over an ACC team as well as a hit on our resume with Quinnipiac. How do you think those went?
Well, 3 games, obviously the Gales went 1-2 at the Paradise Jam tournament. Obviously, as you said, a loss to Quinnipiac in overtime, and then a big victory against Wake Forest, an ACC team, and then a little bit of a setback against Illinois Chicago.
And how do you think our players sized up to the other players in the tournament, specifically Momo Jones dropping 40 points and him saying that he's going to replace Scott Machado in a sense?
Well, I think it was an interesting tournament. Obviously, it was more of a guard-oriented tournament. The only size issue was the Quinnipiac game. Ike Azorte is one of the top forwards in the Northeast area. But Momo scoring the 40-point game, I think, was really a testament to his skill. Obviously, he does take over for Scott this year at the point guard spot. 2 totally different players. Scott Machado is more of the passive scorer, whereas Momo Jones is more of the slasher. The stats are kind of different, where he did score 40 points and didn't have that many assists as with Scott last year, who'd be a 10-point scorer, 10 assist type player. So that's the difference between those two guys. But I really think they fed well off each other last season, and I think now with Scott going to the NBA and Momo kind of leading this team this year, I really think it's going to be Momo Jones' team to kind of run with Iona.
How do you think the impact of sophomore transfer Tavon Sledge will be this year?
Tavon Sledge is a good player. Came out of Iowa State last year. Came back. He's from the New York area. Came back for family reasons. But one of the things that a lot of people like about Tavon Sledge, he's a really quick player. He's got hops. I'm sure if you've seen him dunk, he's probably one of the best dunkers in the Northeast area. He's the type of player that brings different things to Coach Cluse's system. Obviously, just a sophomore, as you said. He'll have 3 seasons here at Iona College to either take over the point guard spot from Momo after he leaves or stay in that shooting guard role. But he's one of those players that I really feel is going to bring not only athleticism to the team, but also defensive skill as well.
All right, in preseason coaches polls, Iona was ranked 3rd preseason. Now, how do you think they compare in the polls now?
It's really early to really talk about that. Obviously, when the coaches put together their polls, it just comes off of wins last season, who you return, who you lose. So the top 2 teams obviously were Manhattan and Loyola. Loyola made the tournament last year. Manhattan's a great team, up-and-coming team with Coach Steve Mazziello. One of the things with Iona right now, it's a building team, a lot of new players on the team, so chemistry, we're still trying to figure out, who's going to fit well with who on any given day. One of the things, too, for Iona fans out there, the second semester is going to be really important to this team. Team's size isn't really what Iona is known for right now, but they'll be getting David Lowry, another transfer to be eligible in December. He's going to be one of those players to really step up for the team.
Great. And how do you think our chances are for winning the MAC conference this year?
I think winning the MAC is going to be hard this year. I think team chemistry is going to be the real important part of it. Obviously, as I said, Loyola and Manhattan were picked 1 and 2 in the preseason polls. Fairfield's another team for a lot of fans to look out for. But I think one of the things for Iona, if they want to get back into the NCAA tournament this year, it's going to really be on the chemistry of the team, how Momo plays, how Sean Armand plays, and just how this whole almost expansion-like team comes together on any given day.
Now, with that being said, how do you think our upcoming game against St. Peter's will go?
I think St. Peter's is a good team. They got a non-conference victory over Rutgers, so it's pretty big for the conference. St. Peter's was a team that was picked last. They didn't really return much from last season, and I think coming off yesterday's victory over Niagara, a game that really helped Iona just to get 1-0 in the standings to really start it for them. I think it's really important. Obviously, players like Momo and Sean really stepped up, but a kid like Curtis Dennis, who was kind of struggling down in the tournament, really stepped up here. He had 17 points yesterday. He's one of those players I think Coach Tim Cluse is really looking for to have big games in conference play. So I think the St. Peter's game is just another stepping stone for the Gales.
Great. And in addition to that, we play at Madison Square Garden. How do you think that game will go? And if you were the coach, how do you think preparing for that game would be like?
I think it's a good opportunity to play back in Madison Square Garden. Last season, Iona beat Siena in a game that was really important for the Gales. I remember Sean Armand, set the college record at the Garden for 3-pointers. I know he's really stoked to get back to the Garden. But looking at Rutgers, a team, Mike Rice, one of their head coach, a team that's looking to rebuild. Obviously, I said earlier, that they lost to St. Peter's, so. They're a team that I think Iona doesn't want to take lightly, but at the same time, it's a tournament. St. John's and Ford will be playing before us, so it's a good atmosphere. It's a good New York City metropolitan atmosphere for the game.
Well, thank you, Nick. We definitely appreciate your insight, and hopefully the Iona men's basketball team does very well this season.